Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome, a long-awaited Gymbreakers final for y'all here on PalletTown PVP, and it is going to be worth the wait because this is an absolute barn burner. This is the Gymbreakers Sovereign Cup final we have for you today between the Italians from Italy and the Netherlands, aka the Dutch. Just crossing all my bases off there. Clearly, I'm in fine form. It has been too long, Gymbreakers fans, but I am back. The voice of Gymbreakers is back in action. You all have been waiting. You all have been wishing, and finally, those prayers have been answered. I am Final Boss AJ. I am the Queen of Ice. I am the best-known Canadian battler since Kevin Saladaris, and I am back on your airways to take you through this epic clash between one of the powerhouses of Gymbreakers in Italy versus the upstart Netherlands side. We are going to go through it here very shortly. But first, you all know I can't do this alone. I never do this alone. And we have assembled a crack team for you here today. Starting with, I'll go clockwise. Starting with the man to my right, a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway because he deserves it. He is a play Pokemon caster. You saw him at EUIC in London working his stuff on stream. You saw him at Utrecht winning the thing and making Wigglytuff Giratina Core a problem. He is a legend in this community. I am so excited to be casting alongside him today. The man, the myth, the inadequates, aka Martine. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, good. That's quite the introduction. I haven't gotten in a long while. Thank you for that. I'm excited.
Hey, Gymbreakers debut. I gotta make you sound good, right? I gotta hype you up. He is representing the Dutch here in this final, so we can expect a little bit of bias, but that's why you have me here, the neutral party, the Canadians here, to balance out the heat between the Netherlands and Italy. And then to help me balance that out, we wanted another neutral party, but since there are no Swiss commentators, we turned to Australia, and the father of PalletTown PVP, the man who has, been on the sticks so many times, I can't count. He is on screen for y'all today, helping provide that Commonwealth flavor to this all-European battle. He is Fish on a heater. What is up, Fish?
Oh, g'day, mate. How you going?
Steve, is that you?
Yeah, that's right. Like, in Australia, we kind of worship him. He's on our $50 note. We're considering making a Mount Rushmore, like our own version of Mount Rushmore, and putting him as the only face.
Very nice. Hey, as long as Rocket Claire gets to 10, I'm happy.
Yeah, she's next. She'll be put as a secondary face just under Steve's face on the Mount Rushmore.
Love it. And because we have Martine here representing the Netherlands, we do, of course, have someone to step up to the plate for Italy to make sure Martine doesn't have his way here on commentary. A veteran of Gymbreakers broadcast. I've gotten the pleasure to cast with him before. We have brought him back again, and you can tell just how excited he is to watch this battle, to watch his countrymen go at it. See Leonardo77 representing Italy. What is up, Leo?
Hey, thank you. Thanks, AJ, for the introduction. Nice to be here again. Let's hope to see some great battles as always. Grand finals are always full of great plays. So yeah, can't wait to watch some.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's been a long time, but I am back here and ready and raring to go. I know this cast is ready to go. So let's just give you a quick reminder. If you're new to this Gymbreakers format, what we have here are 4 pairs, 2 battlers each representing their respective countries. They will go head-to-head against another opposing pair. They will battle in 3 battles each for a maximum of 6 points that they can earn for their country. And since there are 48 battles, the first to 25 will be declared champion of this match and champion of the Sovereign Cup. That is the meta that we are in here today. And I don't know about y'all, but this is definitely a tale of two metas with this one. There was the previous format where it looked like, oh, maybe Ferret's gonna be a thing finally, and Ferret will actually get a shot in the spotlight. And then the move update happened, and Brick Break was buffed, and they were like, oh, we can't have Ferret in here. So let's run down what Sovereign Cup is for the people here. So this was an interesting format. Basically, you had 5 types allowed: electric, ice, fairy, normal, and psychic. There were 4 band types. You weren't allowed steel, you weren't allowed ground, you weren't allowed rock, you weren't allowed ghosts, you weren't allowed mega Pokemon. And then we had your typical band sprinkled in: Greedent, Charjabug, Azumarill, Litleo, Miltank, Cresselia, Lickitung, Lantern, the entire Arctibax line, Bellabolt, Zangoose, Abomasnow, and Munchlax, all banned from participating in this cup. And then not only that, banned moves as well, just to really put the playing field on notice. Weren't allowed to have counter, dynamic punch, double kick, or charm, and then Brick Break got added when it got buffed. So clearly a meta designed to take away a lot of negative type matchups for these normal Pokemon to allow them to kind of flourish in here. And we saw that in a lot of the team building here. I know I'm talking a lot, so I'm just gonna take a break and let y'all discuss this meta. I mean, Inadequance, Leonardo, you two are in this final. You are now very well versed in this meta. What did you think of it going through and trying to build a team for it?
So I think initially, before the Brick Break buff, Ferret was one of the Pokemon that I had my eyes on, and I built one. I invested a lot of Stardust, and then halfway, Brick Break was buffed, and then it was bad afterwards. So that changes a little bit of the normal type meta here. Obviously, Pokemon like Double, Oinkologne, and even Castform in some sort, as you say, normal type Pokemon have been very strong in this meta. So yeah, that was kind of my take. Like, if you want to play it safe, you can bring normal type Pokemon, but there were also like other picks such as Galvantula, Latios. But I think, Leonardo, I think you were part of designing this, so maybe you know more of the idea behind this, no?
Yeah, I put some modifications on it, but Wildcat that was the meta developer in charge for this, and it was already a pre-built meta that he had used somewhere else. We tried just to adjust it, so we removed some dangerous picks and try not to be too RPS with Charjabug, Litleo, and Azumarill. We left Pyroar in because Pyroar is glassier than Litleo. It can be killed more easily than Litleo, but yeah. So if you want to be super safe, of course, triple normal is usually the way to go, or triple tackle user if you are really a bad person. And I used to run triple tackle user in demo monthly cups, but for Gymbreakers, my team was slightly different because triple tackle user didn't really guarantee me any true advantage. So I wanted to be slightly more polarizing with my picks. So that's why we have Shadow Latios, or Pyro, or Galvantula, Galarian Slowbro. All these Pokemon are really useful to do some nice damage, to be slightly more unpredictable, and to output a diverse damage typing wise.
You know, you two talk up the double normals. I guarantee you, I was the only one running double ice. As you know, per usual. I guarantee I was the double ice one. Fish, what did you think just looking at this meta? What stood out to you?
Look, it might sound basic, but I just leaned so hard on that pig. Like, Oinkologne just carried me through so many matchups. I also threw in a lot of Dunsparce in a lot of my battles, because a lot of Pokemon that I was seeing on my opponents, if they didn't have the normal typing, they were weak to at least one of Dunsparce's moves. It didn't do particularly well against the other normals though, so it was like a bit of a that's where kind of the chess match of team competition comes in, right? Like it's Dunsparce is kind of good against this one subset of the meta, and then not good against the other half of that meta.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult when you have it in that normal matchup. It cannot keep up with the tacklers, as Leonardo said. But clearly, these two teams were able to adjust to this meta. So let's see how the Italians and the Dutch got to this final with our bracket. So both sides finished in the top two of their respective groupings in the group stage, and you can see the bracket here. Italy having a relatively easier time taking out Peru B, aka Lima, and then demolishing India in a semi-final somewhere. Vroom vroom pow is weeping. 27-12, the Italians put down India. And then for the Dutch, this has been a tough fight, a narrow escape against Mexico in the quarterfinals, and then one of the teams I've gotten very familiar with casting here in these Gymbreakers finals, Brazil in the semis, and the Netherlands able to end the Brazilian reign there, 26-21, and set up this matchup. And Martijn, I'll start with you. In all my time in casting Gymbreakers, one of the big questions has always been, what if the Netherlands actually entered a team? How would they do? Because, you know, the Netherlands been very quiet in this Gymbreakers format. We finally got our answer here, and y'all took no prisoners in getting to this final. What was the mentality of this Dutch side coming in and really wanting to establish itself at this level?
Yeah, it's interesting because the way it started is Shona asked a couple of us, and we've done Gymbreaks before, but at the time it was like, I believe you had 2 days to schedule with opponents, and when you're playing against opponents from Latin America or North America or even Australia, the time zones get a little bit difficult and it's difficult scheduling. So back then we gave up, but now there was no more still factions and we want to play another team format. Many of the Dutch players were interested, and we know each other quite well. I believe half of them were in a team called Team Utrecht, and then there was also like me, Howie, and then Tho later on also joined. So that's basically how we came together to play Gymbreakers here again, and I think it has been going quite well. Yeah,
I would say you're in the final. I think it's going pretty well for you. You're showing out a little bit. Leonardo, the Italians, again, no strangers to this stage. 12 trophies in their case compared to the 0 for the Netherlands. This is obviously a different opponent for you guys, considering the battles you've had with Brazil, France, Spain in the past. How do you take this new opponent in the Netherlands into this final?
Well, I mean, if you look at the names on the Netherlands roster, of course there are some very heavy names that you really have to be aware of, and so try not to underestimate anyone. Of course, we know that everyone at this point of the bracket is super strong, otherwise they wouldn't be there. But as I was saying to Normal Line after our matches, it's good to see that Netherlands players started back playing Gymbreakers, because they really have some very, very strong players around, and so it's also nice to see Statastan around again for Gymbreakers. I played with him in UK a couple of years ago, so it's good to see that he's back around.
Absolutely. And you can see the rosters here, a lot of well-known names. That pair one for the Netherlands might be one of the best in the world, honestly. It's right up there with Vani and Polishaw for Spain. And again, the Italian side, no slouch. Italy dummied Canada in the group stage. That was kind of rough. But Fish, you look at these rosters, like it's clear the talent's on display. What's it going to take for one of these teams to really separate itself from the others in this Sovereign Cup meta?
Oh, you know what? It's so hard to tell in the moment, right? Because like there is so much variance in this game. Like these two sides, or every player on the roster is at the top of the game. And so it can come down to, like, often a lot of these battles can be decided once the leads are seen. Like, it's that close and that tight. So it's really just hard to split them.
Very fair. And, you know, we'll get into the battles here very, very shortly. Inadequates, Leonardo, obviously, we see both your names on there. You both are involved in this battle. If you could highlight one battler who you think might go a little under the radar here in this matchup, starting with Inadequates, who would you highlight as that battler?
That will be Gideon. The guy barely plays the game, but when he does, he just sometimes just goes like 6-0 or 5-1. It's crazy, honestly. I'm like, you don't even play the game. You don't do anything. Why do you win? It's crazy. But he does it, and he carries.
Leonardo.
Well, if I have to make a name for Italy side, I would say that Dusan Ristic deserves some recognition. He's been under the radar for quite a long time. He's not really playing GBL or play Pokemon, but he's really strong in custom metas. So it's always a threat.
Awesome. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, I've wasted enough of Fish's time. We're going to get into these battles, but first, we are going to give a shout out to our sponsor at PoGo Raiders. If you're looking for an online tool for hosting or joining raids, check out PoGo Raiders. They have been optimizing a fully custom raiding organization tool for over a year with over 3,000 raids a day and over 150,000 members. You must try their free raiding tool. And it's also a dedicated community of Pokemon Go players. You can join monthly PvP tournaments with cash prizes and find help from some of the best players in the world, along with access to infographics and information about everything upcoming in Pokemon Go. You can check them out at pogoraiders.gg or on Discord at discord.gg/PogoRaiders. And we thank them for their continued sponsorship of these Gymbreakers finals, which we are going to start getting into right now. We are going to come with the fastball, me and Inadequates, on the ride for these first three battles with you, Inadequates, and we are going to start in pair number 2, 13 Joppy 37 versus 7 WS7. And we mentioned some of these Pokemon off the bat. In Sovereign, Normal has been dominant. We see the Oinkologne on both sides. We see Dubwool, but Shadow Latios you mentioned as a potential a fast move pressure. And then after that, the variance on these two teams is already starting to stand out. We got Beware, we got Hypno, we got the Pyroar that Leonardo mentioned. Jobby bringing a more conventional team, but the Hypno and the Shadow Celio on 7W side is very interesting.
Yeah, let me make it easier for you. 7 would probably prefer his name to be pronounced as Wes. So that'll be easier. Yeah, so the Hypno is like a team thing. Guido, one of our players in pair 4, did very well with it against Brazil. I think he went 6-0 against them last week. And it was like a team effort to go Hypno. So you'll see a lot of those on our teams. It has been very good. Italy brought quite a lot of Eradicates, though, not on Joppy's side. So that made Hypno very viable there. And then we also like a nice type to keep the Latios in check, because it's very common in the latest battles.
Hey, I mean, Wes has got my heart in this battle with that Shadow Celio. Not the ice types I was using, but hey, any ice type is gonna curry favor from me, Martine. We've been talking for a half an hour. Let's start getting into some battles. How about that?
I'm with you. Let's see it. I'm very curious to see how these players have played it.
Well, that Hypno is going to be in action right away for Wes against Dubwool, probably the most popular lead in this meta, and you can see it starting to work away with these tackles, not allowed to use its signature double kick, but this Hypno is going to fire first with a Psyshock here, Martine.
Yeah, Psyshock is that neutral charge attack that gives it so much better play in the normal type meta. We also have Hypno to keep other Pokemon like Beware in check, and also against Whimsicott. That's why West probably is running that Ice Punch there. It has play against about anything on Joppy's side. This is only a Body Slam. Even a Wild Charge, Hypno can take quite comfortably because it's so bulky.
Yeah, that was one of the big things I was going to say about Hypno, but Joppy decides to take this Ice Punch on the Oinkologne, banking that energy on Dubwool for use later in this matchup, and West is going to respond with the Pig. of his own, and Babe's got to cover the eyes because these pigs are going to all-out war against each other. A scene we've seen a lot here in Sovereign as these body slams start flying in, and they're doing very little to the Oinkalone here, Martin. I think that's why it's been such a popular pick here.
Yeah, it's a very safe Pokemon. Now, one thing that I think is very important for this match, if we look at the back line, we see the Whimsicott versus Celio later on. But the more shields there are in play, the better this is going to be for West, because Whimsicott really relies on the charge stacks, unless it's running Razor Leaf. This is something that Whimsicott also has, because Charm is not allowed, but you have another fast attack that can hit quite hard. Joppy still has switch advantage here, but in this meta, switch advantage is usually not that important. The energy is, and we see Joppy reaching for the switch immediately. It is Razor Leaf though, and it's going to choke on the Celio.
There's the fast move pressure out of this Whimsicott, usually running Fairy Wind, but it's not going to matter here as Wes has got to start peeling these shields away. There's the first one on the Shadow Body Slam. Can the Celio even survive to get another? Just barely. Martine getting this one off, and Joppy's gonna let it go through on this Whimsicott.
Yeah, at this point, I think Joppy knows he doesn't really need the shield anymore. They're taking out this Pokemon and then getting to this charge attack on the Hypno. Wes has got to shield this, but I'm not sure if Hypno's healthy enough to take out the rest of these Pokemon. Is there still enough energy on Double or Oinkologne here?
There's still energy on that double, and that's a problem for this Hypno with that 4-turn confusion. Joppy's going to be able to get both these body slams off here, potentially. Here comes the first one, drawing that shield out of Wes. No more shields for the Dutch Battler. Can Joppy get this? Very easily, and that is going to do it for this Hypno. It's bulky, but it can't take that many hits, and Joppy is going to put the first point on the board in this Sovereign Cup final here for Italy. Just Hypno could not make up the difference there with all that energy Joppy had. That catch on the Oinkologne, saving that energy for the endgame, proved so valuable against a rather slow Hypno.
Yeah, I think Wes had a good feeling there. If it was going to be Whimsicott in the back, then Celio would have been great. At that point, you're probably more afraid of a potential power in the back, where the Power Snow Celio is not that great. But man, then bringing out that Razor Leaf Whimsicott, that really changed Wes' mindset, because he now brings in the Latios, which has a slightly better matchup against Whimsicott. I still wouldn't say it's great though, but this is a pretty good lead, because this is a good win in the one shield that Latios has.
Absolutely right, Martine. With Razor Leaf Whimsicott, this Latios is now feeling much safer for Wes, I imagine, not having to deal with the Fairy Winds. It's still fragile, though. Has to shield that Body Slam. And Joppy is going to bring in the Whimsicott, choosing to use that resistance profile instead of the damage here.
Oof.
And does shield the Psychic. That's a big shield. But now this Hypno gets to come in, work on this Whimsicott, and he's already revealed the Ice Punch here. That is big knowledge for this Italian team. Now they have the Hypno moveset for the rest of this final. And Hypno just does not care. Just going to go to work on this Whimsicott and try and take it off the field here.
Yeah, but this Moonblast is really hard. If Wes does not shield this, this might knock out the Hypno. I think you might barely hang on. No, you don't. It knocks out the Hypno.
Does. Yeah,
that's so much damage.
That Moonblast just hits so hard. It's really the main thing Whimsicott has to offer is just that clear out shot. And here comes Oinkologne. This is going to be a nice little bit of an energy lead here for this Oinkologne. And we know how important that is with these tackle-on-tackle matchups. The person who has the most energy usually ends up victorious here. But Joppy's going to fire first with this Body Slam.
Yeah, this is going to be rough though. Yes, you have the energy lead, and yeah, that allows you to get to those body slams a little bit quicker than the opponent does. But your Latios has no energy because the Psychic that was thrown earlier by it was shielded. Psychic is a little bit cheaper than Lusterperch. It still hits quite hard on all these Pokemon, but you needed the energy, because now, without energy, this might really seem a problem. This Oinkologne will still hang on this Body Slam, and then there's still half a double left as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Joppy decides to do, bringing that double back in. The same time, Wes has that Latios. Can it get to this Dragon Claw? It gets to the Dragon Claw with little HP to spare here, forcing that final shield out of Joppy. But can this Oinkologne finish the job? It has to be able to take all this energy from this double. Joppy does get to 2, and I don't think that one tackle is going to be enough here, Martine.
Yeah, one tackle snuck through. You can only win this if the next tackle will knock out. But Double has quite some HP on its stat, and it will get this body slam off. That is a 2-0 win here for Joppy. Very well played.
It is 2-0. Unfortunately for West, though, that does not end his battle against Joppy. You do all 3 battles in Gymbreakers because 3 points are on offer in each matchup. So West has got to try and salvage a point here just to keep the Italian side from putting a sweep on the board early here. And in Gymbreakers, you know, these sweeps are huge. That 3-point swing can be so devastating to a matchup, especially as tight as this one. And Wes is pulling out all the stops here. There's Beware on the field. An interesting pick, but these Shadow Claws are doing nothing. It's all about the charge moves with this Beware.
Oh, and the bait! Shielding it immediately. Joppy is thinking that his opponent is just going to bait, or sorry, superpower and dip, but it's a bait. He shields that up, and this is very good for Wes. The Shadow Claws don't add up, but if you can land a superpower, it would do a lot of damage. This body slam won't knock out the Beware, but it looks like Wes does want to preserve some HP there to get some more charge stacks off.
Yeah, I think seeing Joppy run that double normal at him both times, he wants this Beware to be active in the endgame. Here comes the superpower, no shielded by Joppy, and it does a ton of damage to that double. I don't think it left with a body slam, Martine, so this pig-on-pig action is going to be clean, and will that double factor in the endgame? We don't know just yet.
Yep, these oinkies are boinking against each other on even energy as well, because Joppy predicted that Wes would dip out after the superpower immediately. And obviously Joppy could not double shield there, right? Because he has the Latios in the back. Latios is so fragile that you need to keep the shields for that, really. This is going to play out here, and I think with the amount of HP that Double has, Wes might be in a good spot here. He might even be able to Shadow Claw it down with the Beware later.
I mean, winning that cap tie definitely helps Wes's cause. Getting this body slam on first, not enough to take out the opposing Oink alone. But now Wes has a choice here. Oh, this is a bit of an undercharge from Joppy here. Maybe wanting to save a little bit of that energy. And Wes sees it and forces Joppy to tackle down. And you can see Joppy wants this Latios in here as soon as possible, as Beware enters, but look at what these Shadow Claws are doing to Latios.
Yeah, you'd think that these not same type attack bonus Shadow Claws aren't as threatening for Latios, but it's actually a terrible matchup for it. Now that you take the last shield, you can bring in the Hypno here. Hypno is super bulky, and it can hang on with Latios here. Look, even the Confusion chunk, honestly. You have the Ice Punch here. It's charge stack priority, so that means that Wes likely, just going to shield this up, making sure this Latios is knocked out.
Yeah, and with that Ice Punch on offer for this Hypno, this Latios not going to be able to withstand the frigid temperatures. A super effective Ice Punch will send it packing, and now these 2 normal types, that's a tall order. It's not like that earlier game. This Hypno is ready for those livestock to bounce off.
It doesn't get there.
It's bulk. And that's going to do it. Wes picks up a vital point there for the Netherlands, getting on board a 2-1 for Joppy. But again, very, very nice grit shown there by Wes to make sure that wasn't an early sweep for the Italians.
Yeah, salvage one important point there. And I think the one game that Joppy lost is the one game where he did not bring the Whimsicott. Maybe he's thinking, man, if I brought the Whimsicott, maybe I would have just went 3-0 here, because it was so difficult to deal with for Wes. The Beware even doesn't have that great matchup there because it's not as bulky, right?
Might have thought the Whimsicott kept the Beware at bay, but Wes just like, I need to pull a point here. I need to risk it. If I lead it into Whimsicott, so be it. But he got the double. I think Joppy let that double all 3 times, and Wes able to take advantage of it and get that point on the board. And Wes is not done, everybody. He's in this next matchup as well against Joppy's partner, Bommarooney. And having gone against this pair in the group stage, they are on point with their matchups. I was not able to pull a positive result. Only positive result I didn't pull, I think. So a very strong pair in number 2 for Italy, and we can take a look here again. A very conventional Sovereign Cup team we're seeing for Bomber. That Alolan Raticate, as you mentioned, is a problem for Hypno. I'm more worried about that Victini that Bomber has shown, because Victini ended up being one of the major non-normal Pokemon in this meta, with that V-Create just offering a lot of neutral damage across the board. You look at Wes's team, only the Latios is really able to put up a fight and fully resist those V-Creates, and Victini just spams them off so quickly with that quick attack moveset.
Yeah, it's like a strategy we've seen before with the Beware from West in the previous game. Just like with the Beware, right? You can throw a quick charge attack that can hit very hard on those normal types and just dip out. That's what many players have been doing in this meta, and you can do that with Victini as well. Go for a V-Create, go into your Oinkologne or double, and then get energy back on later to hit more of those charge attacks. And as opponent, you're probably always thinking, oh, this hits the hardest in this meta because everything else is like a body slam. Opponents are very inclined to shield right away there, and that makes Victini a very powerful pick.
Exactly. It's just great at getting whatever advantage you want in this meta, be it a health advantage, a shield advantage, or even stashing that energy for later just to kind of use Victini as that closer. We'll see how Bomber decides to use that against Wes here as we start this second matchup in this Sovereign Cup final between Italy and the Netherlands. We'll have the battles up.
Yeah.
We'll have the battles up very shortly. We're riding along with Wes. Bomber keeping things hidden, but again, we see that double lead. Martine this time finding Shadow Celio.
Yeah, he has water pulse here on the Celio. We've seen the Celio before. Actually surprised to see it, considering how good the Razor Leaf Whimsicott was earlier from Joppy against West, but he doesn't fear it, and maybe even expects his opponent to not expect the Celio. Going for the Body Slam, then going into the Oinkologne to just take this energy here, and I like that play, because you don't want to use shields on the Wild Charge and preserve your Celio in another way.
No, and the pacing there works a lot better as well. You know you're getting that Body Slam off with Celio before the double can threaten a Body Slam or even a Wild Charge. So I agree. You get that chip damage. You make that double a little less threatening in the end game. But now Oinkologne has Alolan Raticate, and this has been the tank of Sovereign here. If you don't have a Pokemon that can absorb these crunches, this Alolan Raticate becomes a problem very quickly with this dark damage output here. No debuff on the crunch, but this Oinkologne has to fire a move and does fire the dig here.
Yeah, it's not as efficient, but it hits a little bit harder. I don't think this knocks out Alolan Raticate yet, but it will do a solid chunk of damage. Looks like Bombaroon doesn't want to take that chance, just going for the far down, and his energy from Alolan Raticate is so good. It's also purified, so it may run return, which hits super hard. You don't want that to land on your Pokemon.
You don't want anything. I've seen a Hyper Beam Alolan Raticate do some damage in this meta, and we'll see. Wes is going to shield the first move here from this Raticate, not wanting to take it. It's just a crunch, though. So Wes does give up that shield on the bait. The double's back in, but this is a great fire here, getting this Body Slam off before this double again can threaten that Body Slam on this Celio. It goes unshielded, but is still standing and still kicking as we go into another mirror.
Yeah, double, a little bit annoying for Wes. It just keeps hanging on. Gets to a Body Slam here. Wild Charge may have done a little bit more, but maybe Bombaroon didn't have that energy here. I think Bombaroon keeping the energy just in case there is that Latios in the back. I am fully expecting the Whimsicott here, but let's find out what Bombaroon will have in the back here. He can also play it extremely safe with all the normal types, because he does have 3 on his line. Looks like the Raticate comes in here to dump some energy first.
Yeah, and it looks like Wes just wants to, again, make sure this double can't really build up too much without using the energy here to get rid of this Raticate. I'm with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Whimsicott just to be able to chew through the rest of this team. There is a shield, and there is the Razor Leafer from the Italian side. Can't get to the Body Slam in time is Wes, and these Razor Leafs. This is deja vu for Wes as this grass type continues to chew through Celio, and that's going to be another point on the board here for Italy. So clearly this Razor Leaf Whimsicott is a problem here, and you know, in Gymbreakers you are aware of your opponent's movesets. So is this a canary in the coal mine situation here for the Dutch is do they have to be aware that Razor Leaf is potentially a problem here?
Yeah, well, it seems to be a thing. You think that when Charm is not allowed, that there will be no degens, but looks like the Italians are quite the degens, bringing Razor Leaf Whimsicott. Who does that? It's a good strategy, I'll admit. And it has gotten 3 wins so far for Italy, right? So, good strategy.
I mean, I ran a Alolan Ninetales, so... here we go, dub on dub action. These tackles going to be bouncing off the wool here, but again, it's a matter of courage. Who's going to reach for that wild charge first? We don't see a lot of payback double in this meta, but Wes is going to fire with this body slam here.
Yeah, just a very neutral matchup here. Might come down a little bit to either who gets the energy advantage on the back line or who takes switch advantage. Switch advantage is not super important, but I think you don't want your Beware on a potential Razor Leaf Whimsicott, right? There's no Celio this time, so I guess it's fine there. This is a charge stack priority tie on the body slam, which double will hang on from Wes, and so will that from Bombaroon. This is just gonna play out very closely, and I think shields are just gonna be safe till the very last moment, which might be good if you have Razor Leaf Whimsicott again as Bombaroon.
Yeah, you don't really want to be shielding double. Double's not meant to get them, and I know this is Italy against the Netherlands, but we appear to have a Mexican standoff here in Adequance, as neither one of these sheep want to do anything to the other. Sheep solidarity on display. Where's the Welsh team? But,
I think at this point you don't want to get timed out, right?
is this worse than the Mandy mirror? I don't know. I've seen a lot in my time on Gymbreakers calls. I have not seen a standoff like this. Then
Looks
finally,
like Wes is out of
Wes is
patience.
gonna end it. Wes takes it out. There's the Alolan Raticate, and this might be fine for Wes. If do you put the Beware on this, knowing you're not going to get anything with the Shadow Claws? There it is. There's the Beware coming in on this Alolan Raticate, and I think Alolan Raticate may be one of the only things that can't take a 2-stage debuff superpower.
It actually can, just barely. A 2-stage debuff superpower will do only 88%. And catching on the Whimsicott. This is resistant. This is debuff. This is a great catch. You have so much energy on the Alolan Raticate still. And now Wes still has to take care of this Whimsicott with a shield.
Well, not only that, but saving that shield as well for the end game might be crucial for Bomber, as this Oinkologne for Wes going back to work. It has been, it's a pig, but it's been the workhorse of this Sovereign Cup meta. This body slam does go through, and you can see Bomber just not care, just wants as much Razor Leaf damage on this pig as possible. So this Raticate can pressure it with this crunch. That is a very healthy Raticate there, Martine.
Oh man, you need energy though on Alolan Raticate. I would expect Bombaroon to undercharge this, but he doesn't. Even the defense drop, this body slam isn't super crucial, but it does ensure that even a debuff superpower will knock out. This really comes down to the energy that this Alolan Raticate still has, because at this point you still need a Hyper Fang to knock out the Beware.
Yeah, and if this is running return, as we've seen these purified Alolan Raticates do, you don't have that quick normal option. Here comes the crunch. It is resisted by Beware, but there's the defense drop. That is exactly what Bomber needed. There's the second superpower. Can Wes get both these off before this Raticate potentially gets a crunch off? It's going to be a 2-stage crunch, Martine. That will be enough from this range.
Yeah, it's a charge stack priority. Looks like it might be possible that Bombaroon also has 2 crunch at this point. However, Beware does win it because it has a very high attack stat. And it looks like it was a double charge stack priority, a very close game that came down to the very last fast attack. But Beware going with a double super effective superpower here will knock out that Raticate. And that makes it 3-2 now. Wes taking another game here.
Yeah, very well done. Very well managed energy on both sides. That has been crucial here in Sovereign. It is an energy management meta, especially with such neutral play with these normal typings, and both battlers showing expert command there, but Wes with that double superpower able to take the point. Let's see if he can tie it up here in game number 3, Martine. Hypno finds Whimsicott on the lead, And that is a sigh of relief for Wes as this Hypno is able to withstand the Razor Leaf barrage from this Whimsicott.
Look at that waiting, making sure that his Ice Punch is not coughed. I don't get this, AJ. You see Alola Eradicate twice, and your idea is to bring Hypno? This is an interesting strategy here from Wes, and a very risky one, but it does hang very well with the normal types and with his Whimsicott.
I think the big thing is leading the Hypno. We saw Eradicate in the back both times from Bomber, so putting the Hypno up front means you are likely going to keep it away, and he lets it go here, content to take the shield advantage, and I love that, because you think that Eradicate's going to be back there for Bomber, so what use is the Hypno? You got this Whimsicott in a much more manageable position, and now this double comes in to start building up energy.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a swap out from Bombroon here to keep that Whimsicott. And it doesn't even get to a charge attack here. So at this point, West still has 2 shields. If you get this into superpower range, I think 3 superpower. That is, if it is Alola Eradicate in the back, it could be very well Beware's game here. Let's see what West is going to do here. He's just going to stay with this double, chip it a little bit more. I don't think you're going to get another shield here, though.
No, and we see both these body slams coming off. I'm wondering if Wes is going to go to this Beware early, just try and start building energy now that the shield advantage is here. Doesn't look like it. He seems content to let Double go down, and will be putting all faith in the stuffed bear. Hugs for everyone from this Beware as it goes to work.
Oh, it's
his own Beware in the pack. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
this is looking rough. These fast attacks are not adding up.
No. I mean, am I watching the double standoff again? This HP is not moving at all. There's the first shield on the Stomp, but this seems academic at